Hello and welcome to Around the House with Kay and Tom. And today I want to do a little something here. I've got this, that's a piece of frozen meatloaf. Now, I did a meatloaf back in 1st of June, it was 6th of June. And so I put this portion of it in the freezer. And so now we're going to see if we can get it out and put it in this Instant Pot over here and bring it back to life a little bit. So let's see how we're going to do it. Okay, now by the way, this weighs just a little bit over 1.5 pounds, between 1.5 pounds and 1.75 pounds. And I got some of this Reynolds Wrap heavy duty aluminum foil down here in this plate. Now I'm just going to wrap this like this right here. Make sure I leave the top where I want the top to be. I'm going to bring this crisper basket or whatever they call it in this Instant Pot over here. And now the next thing we're going to do, we'll put just a little bit over a cup of water in this Instant Pot. Now if you notice, I've got the non-stick liner in or pot in my Instant Pot here, and I'll leave a link down below if you want to order yourself one of these, because that's a handy dandy thing to have right there. And so then we'll set the basket down in it, of course. I'm going to take the pressure lid here, line up your arrows in the front, turn it clockwise so it stops. Right, we're going over here for where it says pressure, and that's on high for 12 minutes. We want it to go higher than that, so we'll go run the time up. To 35 minutes. And now you got to hit the start button. Now, if you don't hit the start button, it won't start. And as a matter of fact, if you don't hit it pretty quick, it'll just erase everything and you have to start all over again. So make sure you don't waste too much time on hitting that. And by the way, you don't have to seal this lid, because it automatically seals. When you put this lid on, this button here pops up and automatically seals it. So you don't have to mess with this big thing back here anymore where it says seal and vent, because it automatically seals when you put it on. So, oh, and by the way, when you get ready to let the pressure off, all you have to do is hit the button on top here and it'll go. And I'll show you that when it comes time. And by the way, when you put this lid on, you don't have to seal it anymore. This little button here pops up automatically when you put the lid on, and it seals it. You don't have to mess with this back here anymore where it says, where you used to have to seal it and vent it, because it seals automatically. And then when you get ready to let the pressure off, all you have to do is push this button down right here. And so we'll show you that when it comes time to. So anyway, now we'll sit here and see how long it takes it to count up to where it starts pressurizing. Okay, now it's been 7 minutes since we hit the start button on this thing. That little button's starting to jump around quite a bit, so it's fixing to come up and seal. Okay, and there it is sealed. It took exactly 8 minutes for it to come up. Okay, now after it seals like that, it usually takes just a minute. Well, it took less than a minute that time for it to start counting down to 35 minutes. Now, while y'all got a chance, if you can, join our channel and give us a thumbs up. We'll sure appreciate it. And thank you very much for watching our videos. And so, by the way, I'm going to put a segment in now on how I made this meatloaf. Now, it lasts for about 5 minutes, but it shows you exactly what I put in it and how I did it. So if you want to just skip ahead 5 minutes, you can. But I think it'd be to your advantage if you ever want to make one of these to watch it and see how it goes. So, without further ado, let's get on with that little short video. Hello, welcome to Around the House with Kay and Tom, and today I'm going to make some meatloaf, and we'll make it. I've got a little bit over 1 pound. This says 1.22 pounds of ground beef, and I've got some sausage patties here that I previously froze and I thawed out today. I'm gonna mix with it. I've got a half a pound of sausage patties here. So we're gonna mix this up, and we'll have a, now these little glass jars here are a 1/4 cup. And this is, I guess you'd say, a heaping 1/4 cup then of green peppers and green bell peppers, that is, and a heaping 1/4 cup of onions. We'll use a half a cup of Quaker oats. We'll use, now these are farm fresh eggs. We've got 2 brown farm fresh eggs here. And what you see how yellow these eggs are when I crack them open and beat them up. And that's about it. And we're going to put them in this little loaf pan here. And we'll spray it down with Pam, get it all good and slick. And so there's nothing else to do now but start opening this meat up and let's get it ready to go. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and start folding up a couple of these sausage patties here. Put them down in there, and then we'll open this ground beef. This is a good looking ground beef. Look how red that is. Yeah, that's nice right there. Don't let none go to waste. Okay, now we'll beat these eggs up here. Like I told you, look how yellow those farm fresh eggs are right there. Those look pretty nice. So now, might as well just go ahead and pour all of our ingredients in there. We're going to, oh, and I forgot one important thing. We've got to have a can of good old Campbell's tomato soup to go in it. So, we get this open. I almost forgot that. So now we'll get started mixing our ingredients. We'll put this Quaker oats in there. We'll mix in our 1/4 cup of green bell peppers. Put our heaping cup of onions in there. And we'll put these 2 great looking yellow eggs down there. Now if you had extra large eggs or something like that, you might be able to get by with just 1 egg, but these wasn't that large, so I used 2 of them. But you can even still see how yellow that is in that bowl. I mean, this is those farm fresh eggs. They say the yellower the fresher the eggs. Well, these must have been laid the day before yesterday or something. So anyway, usually I have my shirt sleeves down and buttoned, but you see why now that I've got them rolled up, because I don't want them to get down in all this mess. Okay, now we'll start pouring a little bit of tomato soup in here. Whoa, I don't want all of it in there. I got the biggest part of it in there anyway. Alright, moving right along now. Okay, now we'll put salt and pepper in it. I'm going to stir it up some. Now if I can get my little assistant in here to spray my pan down with Pam here, and now I'm going to start filling up my pan. I think this is all mixed up good enough. Okay, that looks pretty good now. There we go. Okay, now we're down under a minute here on this cook it. We got this meatloaf going on, and I hope you enjoyed seeing how I made this from scratch, and I hope you try it from scratch, you know, and make as much or as little as you want at one time. This right here would just be perfect for 2 people if you don't overeat. You know, of course, if we're not careful, I'll probably have it eat before Cave gets off work. So have to be sort of careful with it, because that sure is good to me. Now as soon as it hits that zeros all the way across, or whatever it says here, I'm going to go ahead and hit that quick release back there. And it should be coming up. There you go. Now it has the L in front of it. I ain't never figured out what the L stands for, but I reckon it's alright. And now, like I said before, all you gotta do is go back here and hit this button right here. Push it straight down, so you don't even get your hands close to where the steam's coming out that way. Okay, now the pin dropped, and it took less than 2 minutes. So now I'm going to take this lid and turn it counterclockwise. Well, it took just a minute, because you see the minute there come up. Turn it counterclockwise, lift it straight up, and put it away from your face, because you don't want all that steam coming up hitting you in the face like that. Now keep it upside down, because you don't want all this water here in your floor. Over to the sink and turn it right side up. Now let's look down this pot. Alright, looks about like it did when we put it in there, don't it? Now, we'll see if I can get this aluminum foil off here. That's one thing I love about aluminum foil. It usually cools off real quick. And you can get a hold of it without burning yourself too bad. Now, don't touch the pot though, because that pot's hot. Okay, now that looks, well, I can't get it so you can see it yet. Now that looks just about like you would expect pressure cooked meatloaf to look, but we're not through with it yet. Hang on. Okay, now I checked the internal temperature on this, and it wasn't quite as hot as it needed to be, and so I just put the lid back on and started it again. I put 10 more minutes on it, and we're going to count down, because this is a nice thing about a pressure cooker like that. If you take the lid off and it's not quite up to temperature yet, just put it back on and add some time to it. You know, and it doesn't take it hardly no time for the pin to come up in the back. But I'll give you a little hint. When you do that, you need to take and run a little tap water or cold water, or whatever you want to call it, in the top of your lid here, and rinse it out a little bit. Because if you try to put it back on while it's still hot, the pin tries to stay up, and it's about impossible to lock it into position. So make sure you run your little tap water in your lid and then put it back on, and everything should go fine. And so now we'll check this temperature again in another 8 minutes. We'll be ready to eat. I hope. Well, no, we won't know. We've got other stuff to do. We'll be back though. Okay, now we're at the end of that 10 minutes, so we're going to come back over here and hit that button again and let it go. And we'll see how it turns out this time. Now, let me get back over here and look down in here again. Now, let's see what it looks like down in here. Oh yeah, temperature jumping on up there now. Alright, that's about up to 160. Let's see. Okay, now keep in mind that aluminum foil is cool, but that pot is not cool. So, the next thing I want to do is I want to take some of this Heinz ketchup here. I'll put a liberal amount on top of this good looking meatloaf. Take a silicone brush here, spread it out. Oh, that's really smelling good too. Put it all on it. Make sure you got enough to go down all them cricks and crannies there, whatever you want to call them. I'll put a little bit more on there than that. Now, that's looking good. That's looking real good. Okay, now I'm going to try to tuck this in just a little bit, but I don't want to cover that up. You don't want to cover it back up, but you want to push down in there enough to where you can get the lid on it good. Yeah, just like that. That looks really nice there. Now let me move back so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, now we've got this, the crisper lid or whatever they want to call it for this particular unit here, and this little notch thing back here lines up back here with this thing. You set it right straight down on it, just like that. And now you come over here and you hit bake. It's at 375 for 20 minutes. That looks pretty good to me, of course. Now with this lid, you can take it off and check it occasionally, you know. So we're going to go ahead and hit the start button. See, this is what I don't like about the Instant Pot. With everything you do on it, if you don't do it in a hurry, it cancels itself out and just you have to start all over again. So we'll come back over here and hit bake again. 375 for 20 minutes, then you hit this little start button here. Okay, now the best I can figure it out, it sort of warms itself up a little bit before it starts counting down. And so it doesn't take but a minute or two though before it'll start counting down the minutes here. Okay, now it warmed itself up or preheated or whatever you want to call it for about 2 minutes, and then it started counting down your 20 minutes here. So we'll be back. I'm going to take a look at it in a few minutes just to make sure we don't go, because I don't want to dry it out because it's been too far now to dry it out because it looks too good. So we'll be back in a minute. Okay, now it's been going for 10 minutes. Let's take a look down and see what it looks like. Oh boy, that's starting to look really good there. Now I think we'll let it go on for a few more minutes though, just to see how it looks. That looks delicious. That smells really good. Okay, and that come to an end there, and so I'm going to take this lid off. Oh yeah, that looks really good. Well, see if I can. I want to give it just a second for this aluminum foil to cool down just a hair, and then we'll take it out and attempt to set it on this plate right here, and then we'll go from there. Okay, now that looks pretty good. I wish I'd put a little more ketchup on top though. So now I'm going to move over here. Let me get this hot lid out of the way here. Okay, now I'm going to try to take this spatula right here, slide right under this aluminum foil if I can. Alright, now, let's see if I can pick it up, set it right here on this dish. Now, it looks pretty good, don't it? Got me a little piece there stuck to the bottom. I got to try that little piece out. Ouch, it's hot. Tell you what, this is going to be so good. Okay, now let's take a slice of it and see how it is here. Oh boy, that looks delicious, doesn't it? Oh yeah, that's just as juicy now as it was the first time I cooked it. Or it was the first time I cooked the other part of it. See if I can get a little bit of this in this little plate right here. Like that. Now, let's see how it is. Okay, now all seriousness, this is just as good as it was the day we originally mixed it up and cooked it. So, if you've got leftover meatloaf in a little pan or you make too much, you know, don't throw it out. Put it in the freezer and save it for another day. Well, like I said, this was just a little bit over 1.5 pounds. And there'll probably be some home, well, some when Kay gets home, so I probably won't eat it all. But it sure is good. So, till next time, y'all have a real good and safe day. And thank you very much for watching our videos. And come back and see us real soon now. Goodbye.